Picture this. Every single month, someone wires thousands of dollars directly into your bank account. No strings attached, no equity demanded, just pure capital injection. And here's the kicker. You're treating this investor like a stranger at an ATM instead of the venture capitalist who's literally trying to make you wealthy. I'm about to expose the most overlooked wealth-building machine in America, and chances are you're sitting on top of it right now, completely blind to what you're leaving on the table. For the past 12 years, I've watched thousands of people accidentally stumble into seven-figure net worths while thinking they were just clocking in and out of a regular job. The mathematics are so brutally simple that once you see them, you'll wonder how you missed this for so long. Most people are literally sitting on a gold mine while complaining they can't find any gold. They're ignoring the most generous investor they'll ever encounter, an investor offering terms that would make Silicon Valley executives weep with jealousy. Today, I'm going to fundamentally rewire how you see that job you've been tolerating, because once you understand what's actually happening, everything changes. Let's get something straight right now. Your employer isn't just cutting you a paycheck and calling it a day. They're operating as a sophisticated investment firm with you as the portfolio company. And the terms they're offering? Absolutely insane. But here's the problem. While Silicon Valley founders obsessively study every line of their term sheets, you signed your employment documents while thinking about lunch. You have no idea what you actually agreed to. Let's start with the most absurd example of free money you're probably ignoring. The 401k match, the 100% return nobody takes. Your company walks up to you and says, for every dollar you invest, we'll instantly double it. Guaranteed, no catch. That's a 100% return the second the money hits your account. Find me any hedge fund manager on Wall Street who can legally promise you that kind of return. You can't, because they don't exist, and if they did, they'd be arrested for fraud. But here's what absolutely kills me. In 2026, nearly 35% of employees who have access to a 401k match don't contribute enough to capture the full amount. 1/3 of workers are literally saying, no thank you, to free money that doubles their investment instantly. That's like someone offering you to pay you $200 for every $100 bill you hand them, and you saying, nah, I'm good. The logic is completely backwards. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking, but I'm barely making rent. How am I supposed to contribute 6% of my salary? I hear you. We'll address that strategy in a minute. But first, you need to understand what you're actually doing when you skip that match. You're not just missing out on extra cash, you're refusing a capital injection from an investor who's literally trying to fund your escape plan from financial dependence. If the 401k match is free money, then the health savings account is basically a legal tax cheat code that the government left wide open, and almost nobody's using it correctly. Listen to this. Money goes in pre-tax, it grows tax-free, and when you use it for qualified medical expenses, it comes out tax-free. That's triple tax advantage on a single account. Show me another investment vehicle in America with that kind of structure. But here's how most people use their HSA, like a debit card for Band-Aids and copays. They're using a Ferrari to drive to the mailbox. The actual strategy, the one that separates people who understand money from people who just spend it, is this. Max out your HSA contributions every single year. Pay for current medical expenses out of pocket. Never touch the HSA balance. Let it sit there for 30 years, investing it in index funds. Then, when you hit retirement, you've got this massive pile of completely tax-free money while everyone else is getting hammered with taxes on their traditional retirement accounts. You've just built yourself a personal tax shelter using benefits your employer handed you. And we haven't even talked about education reimbursement yet. A ridiculous number of companies will pay you between $3,000 and $10,000 per year to learn new skills, earn certifications, or even complete entire degree programs. This isn't charity. This is human capital investment. They're funding your development because a more skilled employee generates more value for the company. But here's the beautiful part. Those skills are completely portable. That company-funded education, you can take it anywhere.
Use it to get promoted, use it to switch companies for a massive raise, use it to start a side business. They just paid for your arsenal, and you get to aim it wherever you want. In the startup world, founders practically beg for grants because it's free money you never have to repay and you don't surrender any equity for it. Your employer is literally offering you grants, and you're not even filling out the application. Think about this. If your company offers $5,000 in annual education benefits and you ignore it, you've left $5,000 on the table. Do that for 5 years, that's $25,000 in free skill development you just donated back to your employer. That's not a rounding error, that's a down payment on a house you never saved. Now let's zoom out, because the explicit benefits are just the foundation. The real revelation is understanding what your salary actually represents. Your paycheck isn't the destination. Your paycheck is seed funding for you incorporated. Every successful business needs initial capital to generate returns. Real estate investors need down payments. Stock market investors need principal to compound. Entrepreneurs need runway to build. Where does that capital come from? For most people, it comes from their salary. Your 9 to 5 isn't the investment, it's the investor. When you reframe it this way, everything shifts. You stop seeing your job as some soul-crushing obligation and start seeing it as a strategic partnership. They're funding your actual wealth-building activities.
The salary they deposit on Friday is the exact same money that buys your rental property or your index fund shares on Monday. They're a capital partner whether they realize it or not. This is why the people who actually build wealth aren't the ones who rage quit their jobs to chase passive income with zero runway. They're the ones who exploit their jobs strategically. They maximize every benefit. They extract every dollar of matching funds. They claim every reimbursement. And then they deploy that capital into genuine wealth-generating assets. But most people do the exact opposite. They see salary as spending money. They ignore benefits because paperwork is boring. They let thousands of dollars evaporate, and then they wonder why they're not building wealth. You're running a business that's actively refusing investment capital. Of course you're broke. Let me show you what I mean with real numbers. The average employer contribution to employee benefits is worth approximately 30% of your base salary. If you're making $70,000, there's another $21,000 sitting in various benefit buckets. Most of that is health insurance, which you're probably using, but buried in there is retirement matching, HSA contributions, life insurance, disability coverage, and professional development funds. The question is, are you capturing all of it? Let's run a real scenario. You make $80,000 a year. Your company offers a 6% 401k match. That's $4,800 of free money annually. They contribute $1,000 to your HSA. They offer a $3,500 education benefit, and they'll reimburse you $500 annually for wellness expenses. Add it all up, you're looking at $9,800 in available capital that most people either partially claim or completely ignore. Over a 30-year career, even without investment growth, that's nearly $300,000. With compound growth at 7% annual return, you're looking at close to $1 million in foregone wealth. $1 million gone because you didn't spend 20 minutes reading the benefits portal. Now here's where this gets even more interesting. Everything we've discussed so far are the explicit benefits, but there's an entire shadow portfolio that most people never consider. I call it strategic resource extraction, and it's completely legal. Your employer has infrastructure, software licenses that cost thousands per year, professional networks, training programs, industry connections, software and skills. If you work for any decent-sized company, you probably have access to tools that would cost you thousands annually. Project management platforms, design software, data analytics tools. Learn them, master them. That's not just making you better at your current job, that's building a portable skill set that increases your market value everywhere. Professional networks. Your company sends people to conferences and training sessions. Go to all of them, not to be a good employee, but because you're building social capital that travels with you. Every person you meet is a potential future client, partner, or employer. You're networking on company time with company money. Time arbitrage. Most salary jobs have built-in inefficiency, meetings that should be emails, dead time between projects.
The amateur watches Netflix during those gaps. The professional uses that time to build, research investments, take online courses, develop new skills. I'm not advocating stealing time, I'm advocating optimization. If you can complete your job in 35 hours, but you're paid for 40, those 5 hours are arbitrage opportunity. But the deepest level is understanding what employment purchases beyond just money. Your job buys you 3 things that are exponentially more valuable. Credibility. When you're employed, especially at a recognizable company, you have institutional validation. Banks approve mortgages, landlords approve rentals, credit cards offer high limits. You can make large purchases and investments that would be impossible as an unemployed person, even with the same cash. Employment is a signal that unlocks doors. Use it aggressively while you have it. Stability. A predictable paycheck creates runway. You can take calculated risks with your capital. You can buy rental properties with leverage. You can invest aggressively because you're not depending on those assets for immediate survival. The salary isn't the wealth. The salary is the safety net that lets you build wealth without fear. Optionality. Every year you stay employed while building assets, you're purchasing choices. The choice to take a sabbatical, the choice to switch careers, the choice to walk away from toxic situations. Most people think freedom comes from escaping the 9-to-5. That's backwards. Freedom comes from using the 9-to-5 to build enough assets that the 9-to-5 becomes optional. Let me show you exactly what this looks like when you execute it. Year 1. You're making $65,000. You max out the 401k match, you stuff the HSA, you claim tuition reimbursement for a certification. You're spending what's left after you've captured every benefit. That first year, you might only save $4,000 in actual cash beyond retirement accounts. Feels small, but you've actually moved $15,000 into tax-advantaged accounts in skill development. You're building infrastructure. Year 3, you got promoted. Now you're at $80,000. You kept your lifestyle essentially flat. You upgraded your phone and bought a quality mattress, but you didn't move to the luxury apartment. You didn't finance the Tesla. That discipline created a gap. Now you're saving $12,000 annually in taxable accounts on top of maxing retirement. You're not rich yet, but you're liquid. Here's the trap. Most people let that raise blend into their checking account. Suddenly they're eating out more, upgrading their car, buying things they don't need. Treat that raise like a separate entity. The moment it hits, automate a transfer. The second you allow fusion, it evaporates.
Year 5. You've been watching the real estate market. A small condo hits the market during a downturn. It needs cosmetic work, so it's undervalued. You've got $35,000 saved. You put down 20%, finance the rest because your employment makes you creditworthy, and you rent it out. The rent covers the mortgage plus $100. You just bought an asset using the credibility your job provided. Year 7. The condo appreciated. You've been making extra payments with your raises. You've got $80,000 in equity. You take out a home equity line of credit and buy a second property. Now you've got 2 rentals. Your W-2 income is still your stability, but your net worth is compounding independently. Year 10. Your 401k has been growing at 7% annually. It's sitting at over $200,000. Your HSA is at $45,000. You've got 3 rental properties generating $1,800 monthly in positive cash flow. Your taxable brokerage account has $120,000 in index funds. Total net worth just crossed $600,000. You're still working. Maybe you switched companies for better benefits, but you're not dependent on the job anymore. You're leveraging it. This is when the psychology flips. Most people feel trapped by their lifestyle. You feel liberated by your assets. This sounds great, but I don't make $80,000. I'm at $45,000 and barely surviving. Fair. Let's run those numbers. $45,000 salary, after taxes, maybe $34,000 take-home. If your company offers even a 3% 401k match, that's $1,350 of free money annually. If they offer an HSA-eligible health plan, you contribute the minimum to get the tax deduction. You save $2,000 per year in taxes through strategic benefit use. That's $3,300 you didn't have before you understood the system. It's not retirement next year, but it's the foundation. The game scales to your income level.
The principles don't change. You're still extracting maximum value, you're still controlling lifestyle inflation, you're still building liquidity. The timeline stretches, sure, but the math works at every income level because it's about percentages and discipline, not absolute numbers. And here's what nobody tells you. It gets exponentially easier. The first 50,000 is a grind. The second 50 comes faster. The third 50 feels almost automatic because compounding is doing the heavy lifting. By the time you hit 500,000 in net worth, your investments are generating more annual growth than you're contributing. You've hit escape velocity. The end game isn't some dramatic walkout where you tell your boss to shove it. The end game isn't retiring at 35 to live in a van. The end game is reaching a point where your job serves you instead of you serving it, where employment is a strategic choice, not a survival requirement, where you show up because the benefits are valuable, not because you'll be homeless without the paycheck. Your employer thinks they own your time. Let them think that. Meanwhile, you're running a parallel operation where their salary funds your equity, their benefits build your safety net, and their credibility opens doors they'll never walk through. You're not their employee. You're an investor, extracting maximum return from a corporate partnership. The real scam isn't that jobs underpay you. The real scam is that most people never realize their job is the best investor they'll ever have, offering free capital, tax advantages, and institutional backing, and they walk away from it chasing freedom they haven't funded yet. Don't be most people. Extract everything. Build quietly. Leave when the math says you can, not when your feelings demand it. Because in 2026, the people who win aren't the ones who quit. They're the ones who understood the game well enough to use their employer's capital to buy their own freedom. That's the playbook. Now go execute.